Welcome back to Switch to Linux. Well, today we are going to have a look at LMDE, the official release, and this is on real hardware. And so you can see we are at LMDE 7 GG, and we are on, let's see, we're running the Linux kernel 6.12, and let's see what else is relevant there. There's Cinnamon version. Of course, we are on X, although this version does have the ability to optionally boot into Wayland for testing. Then you can see all of the other features there. We have the 12th gen Intel Core i7 on this one. We have Intel Iris Z graphics and 16 gigs of RAM. So there is our basic system information. And you can see here that it is running quite smoothly. We're only running at 2.1 gigs. And what we want to do here is just illustrate, is LMDE going to be a good distribution for you if you are new to Linux? Of course, this is one that I've hinted at before. If I have to rebuild my streaming computer, I might do the LMDE version instead of the regular Linux version or the regular Ubuntu version. I don't know, I might still do that or not. I don't know, but although I'm not going to be wiping my streaming computer in order to do that. So we want to start out and just walk through the welcome screen, just to give you a first initial impression. So we'll hit the let's go. We can start with our desktop colors. You can see that Mint is now giving us more blue colors than green colors. I thought that's a little odd, but we have that as the option. We have Mint Y, Mint X, Mint L. We have the mixed theme. We have the dark theme or the light theme options. I do like the mixed personally. And hey, if you do like those greens, you got them right there. We have the two-tone options over here. And there's just the orange options. So there's a number of different options that look pretty nice. All right, we also have the advanced theming options here. This kind of goes back to your old school classic options and things like that. So we'll go ahead and keep, let's go ahead and switch to the greens, may as well. So once that's done, there is the system snapshots option. You do need to enter your password for this. The system snapshots is kind of like the old Windows restore point. Now, the hard drive I'm using this on is not big enough to run these snapshots. And I personally don't run these because I find with my data backup strategies, it's sometimes easier for me if I do have some weird bricked system. It's usually easier for me to either fix it in some other way or just simply reinstall or whatever else. So you can see there are a lot of different hard drives in here. That's from all of the different hard drives that are in the computer themselves. But the one we're actually running on is this 32 gig. So we're not going to run the snapshots, but for many new people, it is kind of recommended to do that. Now, the LMDE version does not have the option to install the codecs on the installer because of how Debian runs. And so I am going to run this one here. Of course, prior to doing this, I did actually boot the system onto my wireless connection. That happened flawlessly. We will be testing the Bluetooth at the very, very end. As you noticed on the MX Linux video, I tested the Bluetooth and I did not realize it, but it changed my screen recording audio input to something really bad. I don't want that to happen again. And so we will be testing out the Bluetooth as well, and if it messes up the audio, I would prefer that to be the very last thing we talk about. So you can see here it is downloading the multimedia. So what this is doing is, in order to play a lot of your multimedia files, videos, and audio files and things like that, you need codecs. And the reason they're not always installed on Linux machines is in some countries and jurisdictions, they require a license. And so some distributions will give you the option to install them during the installer. Debian generally does not. And so the Mint team has put together this simple GUI multimedia codec installer, allowing you to do that. Of course, check with your current jurisdiction. Make sure you can do that. As far as updates, this is the shield in the bottom corner. And I did update this when I installed it a couple days ago. You'll see that there is still one pending update. Now, the type over here will tell you what type of update. The shield means it's a security. You might find a cube, which means it's a flat pack. And I forget what the icon is for just a package upgrade. But there's 3 separate icons you will see in there. And if I just go ahead and hit the install button again, I need to hit my authentication password. That's going to download it and install and apply the updates. And then that should go back and trigger that there's nothing there. Now, One of the downsides of the Debian edition is it does not actually give us the option inside of our view menu in the update manager to change our Linux kernels. So you would have to follow Debian documentation for adding a new kernel. And it's not overly complicated, but we don't have a tool for that. It would be nice if we did, but this version is basically designed to make sure most people won't need it. Pinky promise, or what is it? Not pinky promise. Pray, I guess. Make sure you don't. But for the most part, you know. As far as your system settings, inside of your settings panel, we have your basic appearance at the top, which is our desktop backgrounds, the various effects, the font selections for the system, and the themes, which we've already looked at. We have a variety of preferences. I have videos about these, so I'm not going to go into any like the specific details, but one of the new ones here is the actions, which gives you things you can add to this context menu here. So you can see over here that we can add desklets, we can change desktop backgrounds and things like that. Well, some of the actions they've given us, we actually, if we want to download some more, we can look at various options. Some of them give us options for doing like a system monitor. So if I can remember what it is, it's the system monitor. I think that might have been it. But there's a lot of options. So there's things like hashes. That's a virus hash. That's not the one I was looking for. I have a whole video on this tool. I shouldn't be doing this without researching it again in advance. But there's a lot of options that you can have in here to add to that context menu, which will show up in different places. But you can see that there's a number of different things in there. So that's our new actions. Then there's applets, which give you things down here on the panel. There's desklets, give you widgets over here. I have like a system monitor on my desk on my MX Linux computer. And there are, of course, in here is our desktop application preferences. Do you want to show your computer icons and things like that? So I like showing those on my desktop. So there's a lot of options there. And then under the hardware, one of the things that we don't necessarily have here that you do in the Ubuntu version, the other thing is a driver manager. So as far as the driver manager, that is an Ubuntu tool, so it is missing from this particular one, but there is still the ability to do printers, displays, graphics tablets, networking, and things like that. As far as our software sources down here, this is going to be coming from Debian and then Mint. So you can see here is your Debian repository. Here's your Linux Mint. And if you add any extra repositories, you can get them in over here. So if, for example, if you want to run LibreWolf, there is a Debian repository you can add if you want to do something like that. Okay, there is our system settings, our software manager. This is how you are installing software. And I do really like the Linux Mint software installer. The first time you boot it up, it is going to take a little bit of time to capture all of your packages. We'll go ahead and give that just a moment. Actually, while it's doing that, I'm going to walk through the settings menu. The software sources, I think, just pulls up the thing we just looked at. Yes, it does. And under the preferences, you can search in package summaries, which is a slower search, or you can search even in package descriptions. So if you're looking for some advanced keyword term. Now, as far as Flatpaks, Linux Mint does use Flatpaks, which gives you anything in FlatHub by default, and it does not show us unverified Flatpaks. So the verified means that Flatpak has approved, or Flatpak has verified that the software creator is also the person packaged the Flatpak. Sometimes this, or usually this works well, sometimes it doesn't. Some people might want to turn this guy off, but you want to make sure if you're installing a Flatpak and it's not verified, make sure you know for sure it is a good Flatpak. Let me get back to our preferences again. And then when an app has multiple formats. So, for example, I'm not sure why that thing keeps going away. Maybe it's just updating itself. But anyway, let's go ahead and let's see. Let me pull that guy back up. Preferences there. So if something has multiple formats, you can list all types. You can list only the Flatpak or only the system package. So, for example, something like Kdenlive. This has a Flatpak version and a repository version. Now here on Debian, the Flatpak versions might give you the newer versions. I personally don't like my versions changing on my operating system, so I always am more inclined to go with the repository software, which will only get security patches, not feature changes. But you can choose in those preferences if there are multiple, do you want to see just one or just the other? I like to keep it so I see both and I can choose which one of these that I want to use. So that is kind of what I like. You can see here that the FlatHub here, these applications here are FlatHubs things there. And then if it does not have that icon, it is a repository program. And you can come in here and you can search for a lot of different things. I have no idea why we have 2 flat seals and 2 remnas. That is weird to me. I have no idea what's going on with that. Let's, I don't know, I'm going to search up flat seal. I'm going to see what happens. Is that just double listed there? There's actually a repository flat seal program. I did not even know that existed. That's very interesting. Okay, well, it does. Good to know. So you can come in here, and if you want something, just come in here and you can click it, and it's going to let you know everything is going to be installed. So this is the application. These are the various libraries that are not yet installed on the system that need to be installed. And just a note that Flatpaks will take a lot more system memory, more resources, and they will take a lot longer to install. So this way you can just go ahead and install various applications, anything that you want, right from the Software Center without having to go on the internet. And that is a nice feature. There is the firewall options here as well. So depending on where you are using your computer, you can turn it on, turn it off. This is, of course, going to prevent any backward intrusions. If you're constantly on public Wi-Fi networks or things, I highly recommend turning that on. For me in my network, being on my home network more often than not, I just use the firewall that is built in my router. But anyway, we've enabled the firewall. We are good now. All right, so as far as the applications they give us, Linux Mint is a very complete operating system. It has a lot of tools in it. Here's a font viewer. One thing I think, oh, they still do have the character map. I thought they were getting rid of that at some point in time. I was very sad about that. I actually am the geek that uses it. So here we have USB stick formatters, image writers allowing you to download ISOs and other things and burn them to USB drives. Warpinator allows you to send and receive files across your local network. And there are phone apps for this as well. So if you're looking for a good way to send a file between your phone and your computer, Warpinator is a nice option. There are other tools inside of here. Graphics, we have a basic drawing. The Pix allows you to organize your images. Obviously, just a generic document scanner, which works pretty well. We did install FileZilla. Everything else directly comes installed. So we have Firefox, Matrix, Thunderbird, Transmission, and Web Apps allows you to create applications out of individual websites. In fact, Matrix is a web app. If we, in fact, pull up web apps, we should see Matrix right there. All right, so we also have under Office, we have the LibreOffice Suite. We have the Calc, Draw, Impress, and Writer. We don't have the databasing on this, but you can install it without a problem. The Calendar app ties into the online account system. Let's go ahead and talk about the online account system real quick. So over here, if you have Google accounts, Microsoft accounts, Microsoft Exchange, or in my case, I use Nextcloud, you can sign in on these services, and then any application that utilizes the online account system can use that. So the Calendar application in Linux Mint uses that. Those will appear down here as dots on your calendar if you are utilizing the online account feature, and they will sync contacts and any contact applications and things like that. So there are, here's even Microsoft 365. I didn't know they added that. So you can still use a lot of those types of online accounts even with this. I want to see if contacts is in here. We do not have the Contacts app, but if you install the GNOME Contacts app, you will be able to manage your contacts from an application as well. All right, so that is your calendar, your library, your sound and video. We have Celluloid allowing us to watch movies and also listen to things. Rhythm box is kind of the default music player. I generally find it a little overcomplicated for just listening to stuff, so I usually just use celluloid. We're not going to talk about hypnotics because YouTube doesn't like that. Basically, it allows you to watch open source or legitimately free IPTVs. And then we have a series of system tools as well. Time shifts. So we have a backup tool allowing you to back up your home directory. So here's the difference between the time shift is effectively like the Windows Restore. It backs up your system outside of your documents folder, whereas the backup tool will back up by default your documents folder, but not the whole system. So backup tool for your personal files, time shift for your system itself. And then the preferences, these are all available inside of the settings app that we've already looked at. As far as backgrounds, now here's one of the bugs that I have found in it. You'll see I right-click the menu and we're actually missing some things. You got to right-click it again. I've only noticed that here on LMDE. I have not noticed that on my regular Linux Mint, so I'm not sure if that's a bug or something. But here we can change our display settings or our desktop backgrounds. So there's a number of different images that they give us that we can choose from inside of here. So you can go with whatever you are looking for inside of your background. So we don't actually have the beautiful nature images we used to. You can still probably grab those, but we'll go ahead and start with those. And then under your settings, you can actually play your backgrounds as a slideshow. So you can constantly rotate those backgrounds and things like that. So that is a nice option as well. We also have under the Customize folder, you can get to the ability to auto-arrange, and you can choose how much space is between your icons and things like this. So you can do that. So you can kind of choose that, and then you can go with really small up to really large icon sizes depending on what your needs are there. You can auto-arrange them by either vertically or horizontally, and you can sort items by name. I actually do not like the auto sorting option, so I will usually turn off auto arrange. I prefer to arrange things into groups on my desktop. And if you go into desktop settings, this pulls up that same application we've looked at before where we can turn on or off our various icons and things like that. So that is our background options inside of there. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to show you here. We got the updates, we got software installing, things like that. Here's your software tools. Okay, so the last thing is let's go ahead and check how well our Bluetooth works. And this is something I have not tried yet. So Bluetooth says enabled. I'm going to turn on my speaker. So we're doing this last because when I did the full Bluetooth testing with a Bluetooth speaker on MX Linux, it changed my input. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and pull up my simple screen recorder that I'm using to record this with and see if there's any change in the I can't really see if there's actually, I can't actually tell if there's going to be a change. So we won't know until I actually extract the video. But let me go ahead and turn on the speaker now. And if I can remember exactly how I launch a new pairing system. Okay, so I think it's now in pairing mode. And so typically now I would need to search for something, and there is the speaker. Now this button here is marks it as trusted, so this is now a trusted device. You'll see the little check mark, and if I hit my connect button, it is now connected. And hopefully our audio still works. Okay, so now that that says it is connected, let's go ahead and pull up our audio and let's test our system here. So let's see, it says on our output is going to the wrong spot. So let's go ahead and change. Interesting. It's actually not showing up in my system. Let me test sound, see where it's coming from. Okay, so it looks like the sound might be going there. Let me try this. Okay, that one is coming from the computer speakers. That is legitimately going there. So for whatever reason, it says it is connected to this guy. Let me, but it says it's not actually connected. I'm going to turn the speaker off. And we're going to turn the speaker back on and see what happens. Okay, so it says it's... We got this, and this is where I think Yeah, you can see where it went over there. So I'm going to change that back to this one and change our audio over here and test sound. Okay, so now that is properly working on the Bluetooth speaker. So I'm going to try a couple things here. The first is we're going to turn this off, that disconnected, and we're going to come in and toggle this back on, see if it reconnects automatically. It does not automatically reconnect. Okay, I'm going to turn the speaker off now. If the speaker will turn off. There it goes. Okay. Turn the speaker back on. Okay, so turning the speaker back on, that now reconnects it. Let me check my input again. Okay, input's good. Output's good. All right, so toggling on and off the Bluetooth did not reconnect the speaker automatically, but toggling the speaker on and off did. So let me go ahead. This indication says it's there. Let me try that again. I'm going to turn off Bluetooth again. Okay, now the speaker's disconnected, and let me see, can I turn on Bluetooth right there? And it might not auto connect because I'm turning on the Bluetooth directly from here. So I might need to manually do that if I'm turning on Bluetooth, but it does automatically connect with the speaker. And so it does look like the Bluetooth will work as you might expect it to. It's just if you are manually turning off Bluetooth, I think it's probably more like a security feature that it will not automatically connect to anything once you turn Bluetooth on. So you're going to have to manually do that. So that is definitely one of the things that I wanted to test out to make sure that is also working. And so far, it actually does look like it does actually work. That's kind of my thought and my consensus here. So there is Linux Mint Debian Edition 7. Of course, this comes with the latest updates to the Cinnamon menu. Of course, pretty soon we will get backported the new menu when that comes out, probably with the next official Ubuntu-based Cinnamon release. And then they'll usually backport it into Linux Mint Debian Edition after that. So there is our LMDE 7. Let me know your thoughts about that in the comments down below.